Welcome to Battersea Poltergeist episode 8, where I'm joined once again by my sister and investigator, Rebecca. Hi, Bex.
Oh, hi.
So, you have to have listened to the podcast, but I'm sure by now you understand. Let's go. It starts with Chib and Lily in France looking for a sweet shop. This is taking its toll on the marriage. I mean, yeah, if you're even going abroad, that's a big undertaking just to go and wander the streets looking for farms and shops. And
Big, yeah.
yeah. How much would your husband allow you to go to France looking up ghost houses and stuff?
I mean, it depends on what else we could do while we were there. But
Yeah.
if you're go look around, for the purpose of ghost hunting, I don't think you'd be overly thrilled, to be honest.
No.
Especially those days, by the way.
Yeah, how much money would that have been out of your yearly wage?
Yeah, they cost a lot of money.
Chib ends up bewildered trying to prove the letters and literally stood in the street. Well, it's dramatised, but, like, what the hell am I doing here? It now starts to see that the lengths that he's going to, it's ruining his marriage. He's at a loose end. The handwriting expert, Emma, gets back in present day to Danny. Shirley talks about kind of not wanting to stir Donald up again in present day, having these programs be on.
Yeah.
Obviously unleashes anything in your head. And do you manifest Donald by thinking about him?
Yeah.
She just says, I know I wasn't doing it. And
Okay.
I fully believe her when she says it.
I do. She's so genuine.
So genuine.
So genuine.
And yet, there's that disjoint, isn't there?
Also, it's been a long time since it happened and you have false memories.
That's very good, yeah. Did you know that when you think of a person... Oh, my God. I've got to the end of the sentence and I can't quite remember the finish of it. When I picture you, I actually picture the last time I thought of you. It's not you. It's only the last... So if I remembered you wrong, that's how I will remember you.
It's like in crimes where you ask, what did the blonde robber look like? Well, even if he had brown, chances are you're going to be like, well, he was blonde.
Yeah.
Like, it's like you're leading the question. So she, I'm sure, believes she didn't do it. Even if maybe she did, or it was the energy like we see with so many poltergeist cases, I'm sure she does believe she didn't do it. I don't think she's lying.
No, I don't think she's lying. She completely believes it. But does she also somewhere have a memory of, I did write that letter?
Maybe.
But I'm just going to style it out.
Get that one because the other... the knocks happen.
And I think probably I just imagine with a teenager being involved that is somewhere, but maybe she's 100% genuine and almost another victim of it. Can you imagine the feeling inside if she's like, I know for a fact how it looks? But I know.
And I feel like we've been there, even just on investigations. York, for example, couple of things that happen there, and I think there is no bloody way on this earth anyone would ever believe me if I told them that, because it sounds ridiculous, and you almost want to shake them and be like, I swear to you it happened, but you can't.
No. Danny goes over the case. It started off with that key on the pillow. There's another later thing to throw in here from episode 9. Shirley was once out with a friend in a lunch hour, and they went past a jewellery shop and looked in the window and saw a lovely necklace. And Shirley was like, oh, I'd love that. When she got home after work, her dad were outside with thrusting this expensive necklace into her. What the hell is this? Where's this come from? And she was like, my God, that's the necklace. And so the dad marched her to the jeweller's, and the jeweller was like, what are you doing with my stolen necklace? That was in the window. And Shirley were like, you remember you saw me and my mate? And he goes, yeah, I did see you outside. Did we ever enter the shop? No. And how did you steal it? Exactly, I didn't enter the shop, did I? And so the dad took ages to convince him not to call the police. And he's like, don't you ever say that you want anything while you're out, in case this happens again.
Bloody, I might try that.
So yeah, things do appear in the house other than just a key. With the key, it does actually vanish and no one knows what it's for.
Crazy. That's impressive.
Weird, isn't it? Yeah.
The
banging in the streets starts up. The whole streets hear it for whatever it is, incredibly loud. The first thing to move is Shirley's gloves. So, it's seen moving on its own. Shirley is then floated over the bed. She's seen, supposedly, levitating off the bed. Massive. I mean, seeing a glove move is huge. Banging, not so much.
Yeah.
A key appearing could be mistaken,
Yeah.
but levitating off a bed, that is weird.
I mean,
Of course.
yeah, crazy.
The media turns up, the papers want a bit of this action. Then this comes contact through knocking. There are fires in the house. Later on in the case, Ethel was targeted particularly. She was actually pushed down the stairs in October 1956. This is an old woman, 9 months into the investigation, when she's pushed. Shirley wouldn't. Ethel would have said she got pushed by. Even she thinks it's Donald. The parents, Wally and Kitty, find their bed covered in rat poison and alcohol. That doesn't sound like a Shirley move. What's the vendetta against the parents as well?
What was
Is
John?
it authority? Is it the elders?
Where was John?
Yeah. Comes a time when they're all in one bedroom. Literally, the family are that shaken by all this. So they do get scared.
Yeah.
It's midnight, tapping out on the wall. What's he saying? Get Ethel, please. Wally's diary reports this. The room is filled with whispering and objects are flying about. This is the dad.
Yeah.
Are they all in on it? I doubt it. I just doubt it. I don't think he could have. The grandmother alone doesn't sound like the sort of person who would put up with it.
No.
An Irish woman's voice comes out of nowhere in the corner of the room. Ethel, is that you? Is that you? And after this incident, basically shuts down. It was her mother's voice, her dead mother's voice, Ethel's dead mother.
Wow.
Everyone hears the whispering, and just that Ethel knows exactly who it is, her mum Sarah.
Where's that journalist when you need?
Yeah. Kieran jumps in. Well, Ethel may have heard something and said, oh my God, that's my mum's voice. And so when everyone else talks about the story, Ethel heard her mum's speaking, do you know? And then it's like, yeah, we all heard something. Ethel wrongly thinks it's her mum.
Does it escalate?
Yeah, false evidence. But Evelyn says that voice phenomena is apparently documented as the final stage of poltergeist cases.
Interesting.
So, interesting, yeah. But Ethel is absolutely rocked.
Yeah.
As a God-fearing woman, you can imagine. Maybe that challenges her religion. Months do pass, and Ethel has a stroke, and she does die that night, and she seems to know that she's going. Eventually, after time, the media stops paying an interest, moves on to something else. The family's used to Donald being around, as I say, he's got his own room. Chib's quest is coming to an end, and they're just left with loads and loads of letters, physical letters. Cut to Emma, the handwriting expert. She says handwriting is like fingerprints, and everyone's handwriting has ways of using the letters and the curls and all that,
Well, they use handwriting experts to solve murder cases and all.
They do, don't they? Yeah.
Yeah.
Like if you write really small letters, I've seen some people writing really small, and I thought, oh, that means you're like shy and withdrawn, right? Maybe.
Yeah.
Makes some sense.
Yeah, it does.
Now, Emma, the handwriting expert, says there's lots of artifice on this to cover up the fact that it's Shirley. Loads of exotic. You would write like you didn't write, wouldn't you? That would be the main thing.
Own handwriting.
And the only other way I would think as a child, certainly, would be to put more and more, as you do at school on your school jotters, you put more and more curls on things.
Yeah.
So there are two samples, a letter that Shirley definitely wrote and a Donald letter, and they both have a severe left slant. Donald's letter is full of franglais, the French-English mashup, and spelling mistakes, and it's a scream for attention. It's, just like a teenager would write. Emma concludes, I am certain these letters are by the same person. I'm certain of it. And Danny confronts Shirley and says, look, Shirley, I have, our expert says that this is you. What, me? She's like, what, me? Definitely not. Definitely not. But the way that she actually thinks it through is so genuine as well.
Yeah.
She's like accepting of the fact, well, all I can say is, was he taking me over? She's like, look, yes, okay, if it's me, it's me, but it wasn't me. But she's trying to work out then if it was my hand, the only rational, she goes, was that happening? And she's like, that worries me. That does worry me.
I don't know.
No.
I really like her, but she wrote the letters.
She certainly wrote the letters. Danny says, do you see a similarity between that letter and that? And she's like, no, I just see very curly writing. That was a suspicious thing for me. I was like, there's obviously something looking at them that is said, but she emphasizes, yeah, but that's all curly. Almost like, so how could it be me? Because I don't write all curly. That's not what we're saying, Shirley. That's not what we're saying.
But do you not see that is exactly how she would have felt when she was creating
doing it? Yeah, but that couldn't be me. I don't do all those curls. And I was like, that makes me wobble.
I just... Also, to go from absolutely not, I didn't write them, oh, but maybe he took me over. And then also, for you to be so adamant it wasn't you, to then be taken over by a spirit who wrote the letters. In my mind, if I'm taken over by a spirit and I don't know what I'm doing, surely I'm writing in the spirit's handwriting, the way the spirit would have written, not in my handwriting, because surely that's individual to me. Does that make sense?
It does, but I'm straight away cross-referencing it with our work. When spirits come through us in some way, is that quite true? No, because the glass moves independently of us. We've been like, oh, that's a weird movement that we are of. No.
But okay, so we're on the glass. Ruth comes through, and suddenly she has her own style.
Particular movement, yeah.
We know that it's Ruth. So to me, if she suddenly took over my body and I had absolutely no idea what was going on and I was away there, I didn't know what was happening, I wouldn't write like myself. I'd surely be writing in a particular style. I think if I was a ghost and I took over someone's body, I wouldn't write like them.
But they're your vessel, though.
But I'm controlling the body, apparently.
Yeah. I do.
I'll let you know when I'm a spirit and I take someone to do some writing, but
we'll find out one day.
It's definitely a bit suspect for me.
A psychiatrist even confronts Shirley and says, come on, you know you did the writing, come on, admit it. And adult Shirley's like, I don't know when I could have done it. Hundreds of letters, living at home. She's like, when would I have found the time? Surely you go to your bedroom on your own. But this is a woman who would have to sneak down and then trash the house without anyone hearing. Boot polish all over the walls, across the ceiling. No one has a clue.
Was it her and John working together?
I don't like that. But you have to think of it. Yeah, it's how this podcast is presented is purely a dramatization of the story that's put to them.
It's so difficult to know because we weren't there, but too much doubt for me.
Well, what about this though? Chibs, at the height of it, was getting 60 letters a day. Would you write 60 letters overnight? Would you bother? He has hundreds of letters.
No, probably. It depends. What do the letters say? Are we talking 3 words? Or are we talking full-blown pages?
I think they got more and more.
But okay then. But it's Shirley's handwriting. So
Shirley's handwriting.
So she did write the letters. We know she did. Whether it be that she was taken over, she still wrote the letters. So there was still always time for that to happen when nobody was around.
Yeah, because we know that she did do it.
Yeah. So there was still
she has found time because she did it.
Yeah, because no one walked in on her, scribing letters.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. I find, it's all a bit, it's a no from me, I think.
Okay, I've got a note here. There was between 3,000 to 4,000 letters. That's some work.
That's a lot. Yeah, that is a lot. A big cry for help.
Now, to Chib's credit in his notes, he did test Shirley himself and said there were some letters that I know she wrote.
Right.
Boom. So even back then, as an investigator, he was like, she definitely wrote. She tested. Obviously, he caught her out. I think that he's saying
it's too much. We know she did the letters. Even if it was real and everything else was going on, she may have wrote the letters to be, to I don't know, make it, make better. It seem more was but it doesn't mean the rest wasn't true. But it just then that seed of doubt for me. It's even if everything else was true, it puts that doubt in there, doesn't it? It makes you think, well, no, you lied about that, so how do we know you're not lying about the other stuff?
Yeah. And also, if everyone's listening to Donald, why wouldn't you start saying, oh, Shirley needs to meet this Jeremy Spencer? That's what I would say.
Yeah, true.
I need tickets to this thing that I want to go to next month.
Yeah.
So if you can give him anything.
Yeah, well, soon as he got that necklace.
Yeah. So they had activity all up until they did eventually move out. And and activity followed them to the new home for a while. So, yeah, it was still reported. Shirley eventually married Derek, and Chib hands older Shirley a postcard, and it's got a picture of Louis XVII on it. And like, oh, this is what he looked like, this young boy. Chib then is kind of a bit obsessed with failure. What have I been doing? What have I, I've risked it all. And Chib eventually got very unwell. Shirley just remembers that he had lots of blood transfusions. And in 1978, Chib had a heart attack, and that was him gone. Yeah. Always in Shirley's corner,
Yeah.
Kieran and Evelyn, back up your theory. Why don't we look at John? Why is John so skeptical? Why is John always deflecting about what's going on when he is seeing miracles in front of his eyes? How the hell can you be like, but I don't think there's a ghost here?
It's almost like, when you see, again, I'm going to refer it back to murder cases, but you see like a murder case and then the murderer tries to get involved so that they're kind of involved in the police investigation, but they're not too involved. They just want to be kind of just there so they know what's going on. But if John was there like, oh my gosh, yeah, God, this is definite. The fact that he's skeptical, it deflects any attention away from himself.
Yes, it does. That would work. It turns out there's some beef in the family. It came out that John actually thought he was Ethel's son until he was 18. It turned out that Ethel was actually the midwife and delivered John, and the parents nicked off. And so Ethel went, I'll take him on. And he had no idea of that until he tried to join the RAF and they wanted his birth certificate. And once it all came out, he was crying and devastated that Ethel wasn't his real mum.
Oh, that's so... What a lovely one.
Yes, exactly, yeah. An old-fashioned, good salt of the earth type, but John therefore did have some beef, and Evelyn says no. She's just no, I don't have that. Danny's point of view is, look, half of this seems true, half of it seems fake. Like every other case, as we've discussed, it's hard to separate the flowers from the weeds.
Yeah. Very well put.
So Shirley and Derek grow up to raise some children. There's a medium called Agnes who approaches Shirley when Shirley's kind of anonymous, allegedly anonymous. She says, I need to speak to you. And they don't mix. I think they might be at work or something. But she says there's a little boy. He's got blue satin and lace and red hair, and he seems to be always following you around. And it's basically like the postcard that Chib gave to Shirley before is the kind of the perfect description that this woman's talking about. Like this little boy following Shirley around as an adult.
Oh wow, that's it.
So it's like, you don't know who I am. Never mentioned it. It seems significant to Shirley.
Yeah, maybe.
So we've spoke about the necklace as well as the key. In episode 9, there was a guy listening to the podcast who worked out that when Shirley worked at Selfridges and the scissors were going missing and stuff, he says, I'm sure my sister worked there around then. So rings his sister, says, are you listening to this podcast? No. Well, do you remember Shirley Hitchens ever working at your place? No, don't remember. Oh, well, it was on the podcast talking about scissors going missing, and she went, oh, yeah, the scissors went missing. Oh, that girl, didn't know her name. And we're like, yeah, I've seen scissors fly across the room, 3 at a time, and I've seen bobbins of cotton fly off my machine, unravel in the air, and then fly. She's like, yeah, terrifying. And this is his sister who didn't even know the podcast. What?
I mean, oh, God, I don't know.
That doesn't help you. Okay. What about a cousin of Shirley's real cousin, now elderly-ish, rings in or gets in touch and says, yeah, I remember when Shirley came to stay with us because this were all kicking off, and we could hear in Shirley's bed at our house, even though we could see her hands and everything, that there was like a spanner, metal on the bed, and we were like, where's this coming from? We looked under the bed, nothing there. And then when Shirley's covers would come down from chin to feet and she'd pull them back up, they would see the covers start going back, and the dad and the cousin, 2 guys, would hold onto these covers, and it was far too strong for the both of them to stop the covers from going down.
Yeah, see, that's great evidence. Like, if you see that, I can't imagine ever, you can't not believe.
No. And there's a guy who also gets in touch who realizes he used to work with Chib when he at the insurance office. And Danny's sort of saying, "Oh, did he ever talk about his case? Oh yeah, he loved it. He'd sit down, get his pipe out, and regale you with stories of what his latest evidence was." That's just nice
That's
that
cool.
he was like a lovely guy, And basically, to end on, when doing the podcast, episode 8 as it goes, after finishing doing the last episode of actual recording, adult Shirley, she gets like a whiff of Chib's old smoking pipe and stuff, and thinks,
Yeah.
well, this is his work. This is all what it's amounted to, and hopefully he is happy that we're revisiting it.
Yeah, and it would make
It would
sense
make
that
sense. It would check out.
when you're finished and you're all done.
Yeah.
Nice.
So ultimately, Becky, was it real?
Nah, I don't think so.
I'm going to say it was real, but there are things that got put on top that don't check out. There's plenty of outside people, like the doctor who said those are scratches inside that burn, things like that.
Yeah,
and things moving off their office table and stuff.
I just find it I feel like once somebody's, it's the trust thing for me.
Yeah.
I can't, unless you're there, unless I was there, I can't say, yeah, it absolutely happened. The fact that those letters were written by her, to me, what else were you faking then? There are I know, like you say, the scratches and the trashing of the house and the journalists being in the bed and saying, look, I was there, I saw it, it was not her, it was something was definitely with us. But it just ruins it for me. I just can't. I feel like if you were able to do that and write thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of letters, what else were you able to do in that house and get away with?
It's a true statement. It's a true statement.
So I really like her. I really like her. But I just a lot of doubts, unfortunately.
I don't want her to come forward and say I faked it.
No.
It'd be another right through another case that I've been fascinated with. And there's been enough of those over the years.
Yeah, no, it would be such a shame. But then in another thing, well, you might as well, because chances are it probably
it's already
won't.
blown. Well, yeah. There was another little tiny piece that maybe you didn't hear. That there was a case in 1928 in Battersea of another poltergeist before this one, and had very similar activity to this case. And people said, was this Donald getting his practice in before he did his better one?
Could be, and it's also not like she could have Googled it. Shirley didn't find that out, because there was no. Yeah, maybe.
No, who knows? But Becky's got a strong, probably not. I always like to live on hope and think there might be some glimmer of truth in it. Well, thanks, Becky, for your time.
Thanks for yours.
And please go and watch our Witch Farm series because that was good as well.
Yes.
And okay. Thank you very much, and goodbye.
Goodbye.